Hey guys, Pat here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I need to do a little repair work on my dryer. I have a Maytag Neptune dryer that I replaced the baffles in today. Shot a video on that. In pulling out the dryer, I noticed that I had a defect on the vent tube. And so I'll take and show you that. So when I pulled the dryer out, this vent pipe, this galvanized vent pipe, just came out with the vent hose. And so as you can see right here, it was tack welded and the tack weld broke. I'm not a big fan of tack welds, but they are what they are. So this little tab right here that secures the vent pipe into the dryer machine, or into the dryer, we need to repair this. Well, I got a wire feed welder. I can weld it, or I can use pop rivets. And so today I'm going to go ahead and pop rivet this together. Well, just in case you wanted to know, when you go to the store and you're going to get some rivets, here's some things that you need to know. This part here is the shank. Everything in red has to do with the shank. In the blue, you've got head size. And this is what it looks like with kind of a cutaway view. The mandrel will recess into the shank and into the head. So there are three different sizes you need to be concerned about. You need to be concerned about the head size, the shank length, and the shank size. Now when a pop rivet's put together, you're going to have the mandrel portion, it's going to break off. Once you come up tight with the rivet gun, it's going to pull, this knob here is going to be pulled through the material, and it's going to mushroom out here, and that's what holds the material in place. So the dark blue represents the head, and the light blue represents the material that you're riveting together. Let's say that this is two thin pieces of aluminum that you're fastening together, and also the shank will end up mushrooming when you try to pull the steel mandrel or stainless steel mandrel through the head of the rivet. Now rivets are really handy. They're handy for all kinds of different applications. They're used in the auto industry, the aircraft industry. They're used for all sorts of different applications. And what I have here is I have two different rivet guns, and this one here has a swivel head on it. Most of your rivet guns are going to come with nose pieces. These are nose pieces, and what they are is they're different. They have different size holes in there to accommodate different size rivet mandrels. Here's an example of some different mandrels, and you can see how much they vary in size and depth. The heads are all different sizes. The mandrel are different widths, and the shanks are different widths and lengths. So over here we have a steel rivet, and that goes in this box. They have some references on here, and this particular rivet has a shank or a grip width of 3/16 inches in diameter. So the diameter of the shank or the grip here is 3/16 of an inch, and that's in reference to this number here. Now this gives you a range on how deep of material that you can actually rivet together, and that refers to the material that you can actually penetrate with this rivet and still have it hold. And so this has a range of 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch. So this one here is an aluminum rivet. The shank is going to be steel, or I mean the mandrel is going to be steel, but the head and shank are going to be aluminum. So that's what they refer to when they call it aluminum. And they also have stainless. There are other types of rivets out there on the market, but these are the most common that you're going to see. So that's show you this head here, and it rotates, so you can actually work this in peculiar areas or difficult to reach areas. You can articulate that head around. Usually your tools will come with a wrench, and they're usually located in the handle. This one here is in the handle on this one. This is a non-articulating head or non-rotating head. Well, now we'll go out in the shop and I'll show you how to actually use one of these. Okay guys, we're out here in the shop and I've selected two 1/8 inch wide rivets. The shank of the grip's going to have plenty of penetration into this thin metal here, and also this this little catch here, this little bracket. Now a lot of times when you have a tack weld like this or a spot weld, it's actually a little bit easier to move the bracket over and drill new holes so you can avoid the old welds, because the old weld is actually harder than the other part of the steel. So it's a lot easier to drill through fresh steel than it is to drill through a weld. So actually I'm going to change my mind up a little bit, and I'm going to put 4 of these in instead of just 2. I'll go ahead and put a rivet here, 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 and here. I'll take a punch. And that way I have some little dimples in here, so my drill bit, when I go to drill my 1/8 inch hole, because again we have an 8 inch wide shank, I'm going to drill an 1/8 inch hole to accommodate that shank so it fits nice and snug. And I just went ahead and marked these and put a little dimple in the metal so the drill bit doesn't wander. Now I just go to my drill index and I find my 1/8 inch drill bit. So these rivets are 1/8 by 5/16. So that's a width of 1/8 and 5/16 on the length of the grip. So I'm going to offset that with the same depth between the first weld and the edge here. And while I have this in place and the holes lined up, I just insert the rivet. And a lot of times your mandrel, the old mandrel, will be hung up in here. So one little tip is, if your mandrel gets hung up in the nose piece, you can squirt just a little bit of silicone spray or WD-40 into the nose piece, so the mandrel slides in and out a little easier. And so when you put your mandrel in the riveting tool or rivet gun, the handles will be opened up. The head of the rivet will be up against the nose piece. Insert the rivet all the way in and hold down tight to your surface and to the metal. You want both pieces of metal hard up against each other, and then you just exercise the handles. And there you have one hold right there. Now I can go ahead and remove my clamps here and just press down with my fingers now. I'm going to go ahead and drill this hole diagonally from the other one now. Now I can go ahead and drill the last two holes while I got everything is secure. Now when you go to put your rivet in, you want the rivet gun and rivet perpendicular to your work. Now as you can see, my first rivet here, it wasn't square. So I did that one wrong, but it's going to be okay. I have 4 rivets on here that are going to hold instead of just the 2 tack welds that were on here. So you can see where the shank mushroomed out, the aluminum shank, against the steel mandrel, and that little knob right there actually sucked up into the shank there and swelled it out and swelled it against the metal it's holding together. Now you got the finished product. Now if I was concerned about those sticking up like that, I could take a hammer and put on the back side of the bracket and then put a weighted like body tool in here, and I can mash those flat. Matter of fact, I think I'll do that. So to go ahead and flatten these out, I just have you can use any piece of metal. I just happen to have these handy little body working weights. This is just made out of steel. I can place them underneath, actually on the shank, and hold pressure against the bottom and lightly tap on the top of the rivet head and flatten those out just a little bit. Especially that one that I didn't get really flat in the first place. Okay, as you can see, I flattened those out a little bit. Of course, you don't want to beat on these too hard or you'll affect the integrity of the hold for the rivet itself. So I think that's done. I'm going to go ahead and get it installed. Okay guys, here we are here at the back side of the dryer again. Now we're going to go ahead and insert the outflow tube here. Okay, we got it in place and we're ready to put the screw in. Well, I hope you guys found this video useful and might consider utilizing rivets in your tool repertoire. I'll insert a picture of a piece that I actually built a while back with rivets, and it cost me nothing but rivets. I had the aluminum sheet, and I also had the rivets, and this particular part that I would have had to bought would have been fairly expensive if I'd have had to replace it. They come in handy, not every day, but they do come in handy at times, and it's actually really nice to have them. So thanks for watching, take care, and God bless.